it's gonna be 20 years probably before the city gets that far out. And I don't envision anybody using a conference center where there ain't no hotel around. Like I say, I'm just going back, I think if we're gonna borrow money and go in debt, we need to do it to give the people, not in just the northern section, out on 32, Miss Johnson's got some high dollar homes out there, but those people pay outrageous insurance because they don't live within 5 miles of a fire station.
Was it past 5 miles of a fire station when they bought the house?
Let me go a step further. My mom and daddy's lived in the same place for 60 years. That's before they ever even thought of having a fire station in Lee County, so I don't want to hear that crap.
Let's stop that right there.
Okay.
Let's stop that. Let me say this to you, Dennis. This county's made tremendous progress with health, safety, and welfare for citizens the last 4 years, 3 years. We put ambulance service on Highway 82. We're building a brand new fire EMS station in Smithfield. We haven't raised taxes. We've doubled fund balance. I think Lee County's doing a good job.
I'm not saying they're not doing a good job, I'm just
But
saying.
you keep saying over and over that we don't treat the citizens of the county fairly because we treat some differently than others, and that's simply not the truth.
All I'm saying is going.
The investment that's been made on the south end of the county primarily has come from private dollars. The paved roads on the south end of the county are because people invested private dollars. And we have invested more money per capita in Smithfield than we have anywhere else
Well, tell me what
in
you
the
do.
Smithfield district.
What you
Can we just stay on track here? I know, but you know, we've all got things to do. I got a real job that demands time. But Dennis, about starting out and building back, I'm glad you didn't talk to Fred Hand at Publix.
Amen.
Because he started out and he really started that going out there. So I don't necessarily agree with that view of the conference center. Now, they're gonna build a hotel out there? Not this year, you know they're not. And even if they did, we wouldn't get $1 off of it for 2 years. So, I mean, that's, but I think that we just need to focus on this and see if we can make this happen. And if we can't, then we won't have a conference center. But, you know, the library, I mean, we're glad to partner with Lee County on the conference center. I think it would be great. And I think it would be used by a lot of people once it gets established. It will not be like the Civic Center. I mean, you know, because we're not designing it for concerts. That's not the intention. But for years, people of Lee County, if they want to have any kind of meeting at all, they got to go across the county line to do it. And there are groups besides the chamber that have meetings. I mean, we've got a lot of civic clubs that are growing in Lee County, and they have to go someplace. Well, one of them was having to meet at Doublegate because there wasn't any other place to meet. I think it's important for Lee County. I mean, we've got to provide that type of lifestyle to people that are moving in. And I agree. I mean, there's a lot of dirt roads in your area.
I'm not complaining about dirt roads. You never heard me mention dirt roads.
But,
Matter of
you
fact,
know,
I
the
tell
expenses
people when they come
and
to the meeting about dirt roads.
But you know, let's just take care of this.
Well, I'm in agreement with the library. I think it's something that's needed there. I'm just saying if the county must go in debt, let's do it something that'll benefit a lot of citizens.
Let me say one more thing, and I'll move through it in the conversation. I think Lee County has intelligently spent dollars with a vision for the future. And just like the money we spent to run the sewer down 82, that was an investment that had to be made for the future of Lee County. We hadn't spent that money, went in debt for it. I don't believe that John Deere would bring 70 jobs and build on how it got that the industrial park. So I think we've intelligently spent our dollars that were available on the projects that we thought were priority. And I think the priority, our last priority, was the fire EMS station in Smithfield. And paving Old Smithfield, I mean, listen, there's only X number of dollars to be spent. Sure, you could use a fire station out 32. You could use one on New York Road. But that, to me, is not it is a priority, but by golly, there's other priorities that should come first, and there's only so many dollars available, and that's the bottom line. 75% of the people in Lee County live in the southern part of the county. But I mean, I'm so proud that we do have a new fire EMS station in Smithfield, Dennis. I mean, they're entitled to it. We do need to protect the safety and their health up there.
But what about the other people that don't have it? That's all I'm gonna
Well, I mean, but you gotta have the money. You wanna raise taxes? We got one of the lowest millage rates in the state. We haven't raised taxes in fire. Yeah, let's raise the millage rate. Who wants to say, yeah, let's raise the millage rate? And nobody in this room would tell me today to raise the millage rate.
Let's talk about the library conference center.
Well, I don't think we're gonna.
Eddie, I'll tell you what,
No.
Sorry.
Eddie, I've said my last word. Go ahead.
My whole idea, and I mentioned this to Christie after y'all's meeting, my whole idea was to get together with Sonia Bruce, two of the commissioners, and Claire and myself, and sit down where we can go through this and get the book out. We can go through it line by line as far as what's what. That's the only way we're going to get anything decided here. We don't even have all the figures from the contractor of what would be deducted if we do certain things.
Ed, you're exactly right. That's what we need to do. And we need to sit down and discuss to see if we can come to that figure that we're going to allocate. You're exactly right.
Or else,
And I think that's why we want Bob to be.
yeah, or else, me and Claire leave the room and y'all discuss the conference center. But, you know, I think it can be done. I just don't want the library to suffer, because there's a lot of people out there and they deserve to be able to go to a library without making a 20-mile round trip to one, or else go to Doherty County. And actually, I think you'll find a lot of people from Doherty County are going to be making the trip up to the Lee County Library. So,
One thing that I want to bring up that Bruce thought about after the last meeting, I think we talked to Christie, is that your bids that you have are good for 60 days. And so we do have a little bit of a time we need to decide if we're wanting to value engineer with this contractor, or, you know, if we think we're going to have to do enough that it would be more beneficial to redesign and put it back out for bids. But that's the time frame that we have, 60 days from when we bid it, which was the end of July 27th. So
60 days from that point, there the bids expired.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? If we reduce the conference center, that's going to call for a redesign, is that correct?
probably so, yeah. It would be, the extent of changes would probably need to be done.
I think that's probably what I think most of the commissioners would like to see.
I would.
It's probably way of that.
Okay. But, you know, we just kind of need to know which direction. If that's the case, then, you know, we can go ahead and start taking that out. And then we still need to do, like he says, if we're going to move forward with it, try to go through line by line, kind of like what we've started, and decide whether you all are okay with changes that we're proposing, because we can't make the price any cheaper without changing things. You know, we've got to cut to get it down. And you know, Bruce and I can decide what we think is okay to cut, but we're going to need input from the library on the library side and somebody from the county on the county side. And then there's going to come a point where that's all we can get. And another thing, you know, by putting it back out for bids, we're taking a little bit of a risk, because prices could go up between now and then. But we don't see that happening. So far, you know, we haven't heard of any, everybody's saying that the market's picking up, but we're not seeing it.
I think it's going to get worse.
But, you know, we need to kind of go ahead and decide if we know we need to get enough out that we're going to be reducing square footage, then we probably are going to have to redesign. So, but just so you know, if you didn't think that was the case, we do have a time frame for these bids.
I think the only way we can do both is to lower the seating price. That's the only thing I know to do is is redesign, I agree with Bob, and I appreciate Bob coming on board with this value engineering, is reduce the seating capacity, go from there and see if we can come within that budget, bill that we decided we want to spend.
How long?
We're gonna have to go in like.
Yeah, I understand, and I'm in total agreement with that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a question on something here since you're talking redesign.
Sir, we're not going to have any participation, anybody except the Board of Commissioners, Library Board, and SRJ.
That's my statement. I was trying to figure out if you're going to have the public involved in this process anymore, or if
Yes.
it is done.
No. Once we determine what the process and the project is going to wind up being, we'll have a public meeting on it.
The process already was. It was a library.
No,
I'm just clarifying here because.
What are you asking? If we're
What,
going to build a library?
no, what I want to know is
We're
if
gonna
you're going to
build a
go if you're going to go to redesign, why don't you have them redesign a library, and why don't you have them redesign a library and a smaller one rather than redesign a smaller conference center and then come back 6 months from now and say, well, it's still too much.
Well,
Why not-
because we
why not
probably
go-
lose our funding from the state because we've already been approved for the design that we have.
So spend it before you use it, lose it. Go with the library.
Tim, we work it out.
Hmm?
Between the Board of Commissioners and the Library Board and SRJ, we'll work the problem out. And once we come to a final decision, we'll notify the public.
So there's no more public hearings between now and then. This
There'll be
subject
no-
is closed.
As far as I'm concerned, there's be no public hearing and no public meetings until we can get some uniformity in what we intend to build. Does that make sense, Andy?
Yeah, I don't understand what you're trying to ask.
You keep saying that you
Are
need to
you
speed
trying
up.
to ask if you can help us design this?
No, I'm
Got
saying.
architects for that.
I'm saying you want to build a library, the money's there, we have 4 million, we can build a library for 4 million. We can do that next week with the board meeting. They can approve it. They can say, they said they can do it. Why not do it?
Well, if we.
Why,
do
if it's a
redesign,
rush, if it's a
we still
hurry,
redesign.
why not do it? If you're going to go to redesign, why are you going to redesign a conference center and not have a standalone library at the same time when you design? To have two redesigns at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to
Tim.
redesign.
Cease
Because
and
that's not our
desist.
wishes.
Cease and desist, please. We'll handle this. Do I need a motion to adjourn?
Do you have a time frame on your money from the state?
That's what we were just talking about
File
on this
form
day. We'll
change.
have to get an extension. And like Sonia said, when you redesign one thing, you have to redesign the rest of it.
Anything else, Andy?
No?
Anything from the Board of Commissioners?
No, sir.
Anything from SRJ?
No, sir.
I need a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Second.
Yes, sir.
yeah, are we going to go ahead then and look at reducing the size of the conference center?
I
Is that
think
the
it's,
direction the board wants us to go?
yeah, I think it's the only way we can proceed. Because we've established out what we think we need to
Just
spend.
want to make sure.
And we really don't want to go over that amount of money.
That's our direction.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All in favor? I guess we're going to adjourn.